Welcome to the Babies in Business Podcast. Join your hosts, Rachel and Avram Gonzales, real-life parents and business partners. Each week on Babies in Business, Rachel and Avram create a space for entrepreneurial parents to find their own way. They'll dive into insights on topics like leadership, efficiency, self-awareness, budgeting, and human psychology as they nurture their family and build their business. Here's your hosts, Avram and Rachel.
It's Avram here sitting next to my yogi wife, Rachel. She has a block here that's in her chair, feeling that pregnancy.
Yeah, I have to find a way to actually be able to breathe right now. So we're going to see if it works better this time.
And if it works out, we will put the picture in the show notes. Just kidding. Hey, today we got a fun topic, something we want to share from direct experience that we have aptly called the Power Hour. And it was something that we did month of January.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be January.
That was pretty powerful for us. There were some pros and some cons. This episode is really about, I think it is about productivity.
Sure.
I think it's about trying to rearrange schedules to make things happen. We were back against the wall, not getting what felt like not getting anything done for our business.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that we found ourselves in a situation that was just not getting better with lack of care for Lincoln, babysitting here and there. And we had to find a way to get some time. And we started asking really creative questions like, maybe, what do you think about getting up at 4:30 a.m.? I have always sworn that I would not be in the 4 o'clock club. If it has 4 in it anywhere, I don't care if it's 4:59, it's still 4. So I proposed that to you and you kind of like humored me.
I didn't humor her. I just about shut it down immediately. I was like, no, that's not a thing. But to take a step back, for a couple months, we didn't have childcare.
On a regular basis.
Like,
it felt like no childcare completely.
So whenever I would work, that meant that Rachel would be watching our son, and then vice versa. When she needed to get something done for the business, then I would watch him. And what that meant is we are now splitting our work week.
Well, and it also means that the things that I'm good at, if you have something that you needed to delegate to me
that's urgent
to get done, it doesn't get done because if I'm on a computer, Lincoln wants to be in my lap. If I'm on a phone, he thinks it's video Lincoln. So let's watch a video of Lincoln, So there were a lot of struggles that we were seeing.
We needed a way to get some more time.
Correct.
Because it wasn't happening during the day.
And guaranteed time.
So we all know how deflating it is to have planned for something and then the day before or the morning of, you realize it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Mentally you have to shift, but also all of your plans are just...
And for me, it's like, I love this little boy so much and I want to be around him. I've wanted to be a mom all of my life. And having him at home has just been such a great thing to see and witness and see all of his wonderful things coming about. And so I've really had the struggle of, do I want help? Do I not want help? And then if help fell through, like babysitting fell through, then I felt a little bit, actually not just kind of really angry and upset. Like, okay, someone else's plans fell through. That means mine has to change. And so I felt deflated over and over and over. And it was taking a mental emotional toll on me.
And that's key.
And because I really want to be there for Lincoln. If I'm with Lincoln, I want to be with Lincoln.
And then we discovered about ourselves that being pretty motivated people, we like achieving goals. We like doing, knocking things off the checklist. When we weren't having that feeling of forward momentum in the business, in addition to wanting to be present for our family, we got pretty aggravated. We started feeling a little shorter with each other.
For sure.
There wasn't much time for each other. So the radical idea then was pitched.
Yeah.
What if we got up before the baby wakes up every day? If we get up at 4:30, we can be in our chairs by 5. We can get a full hour before he could possibly wake up.
Yeah, and that gave us a buffer of if if he woke up at 6 o'clock, we would still have gotten an entire hour in.
And so Power Hour was born. And before you're like, look, we've heard people talking about Morning Miracle and stuff. Like, this is not what it's about. It's not about Morning Miracle. But I do think that Hal Elrod, the guy who wrote Morning Miracle, probably created it because he had kids and he just couldn't get shit done. Right? And he's like, we have to create the Miracle Morning because I am going bananas. Not getting anything done during the day.
What I say, necessity is the mother of invention.
It is the mother of invention. So the radical idea was pitched. We sat with it for maybe a day or two, and it was like, let's just try it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So we then decided to try this thing out. Let's talk about what happened, and then we'll wrap with some cool lessons here today.
Yeah, we tried it, and I mean,
We did it for a month.
kudos to us, right? Kudos to us. We did an entire month. I mean, we were dragging ourselves out of bed.
We
by
only
the
missed
time
2
done.
days that weren't 4:30, so they
Right.
might have been like 5 instead.
And that was for various reasons.
Yep.
But I think that we have a lot to be proud of,
do.
that we need to pat ourselves on the back because we really had a dedication to it and we just made it happen. Even though it wasn't fun and it was really difficult, we found that, and there are reasons why we actually got off of the schedule. And it was actually not necessarily because our bodies were slowly breaking down. It was because Lincoln started waking up earlier and earlier. And then we needed to put him into bed later. So there were a lot of different things that came about during this time. But we did notice that our sleep wasn't as good. We weren't getting as good quality sleep, not as much sleep. There was a lot of things that came about.
Well, the plus side, we didn't even address the plus side. So
Sure,
the
sure,
plus side of what came out was we hammered through in the course of a week tons of things that were piling up in the back of our heads
Sure.
for about 2 months.
Yeah, well,
We just
were able to
annihilated it
clear
all.
the deck.
Boom.
Yeah, clear the deck. And then I think like a week in, we're like, okay, so now the Power Hour becomes marketing for our business.
Yeah.
So that's what you would do is you would spend that whole hour just doing something for our business.
Well, that's because we realized that that kind of stuff wasn't happening
Correct.
during the regular day because other things would take that attention.
Correct. Well,
So-
because we have paying clients and they need to get what they're paying for.
That's right. And so we realized that the Power Hour became this somewhat sacred time
Correct.
to work on our business instead of spending the time on other people's businesses or needs.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, being able to catch up was such a good feeling. I remember, I mean, we were
We were
It felt
liberated.
like we went from no time working to just 1 hour, but it felt like 50. It might as
Big
well have
time.
been.
And in the sense of accomplishment every morning before the day even started, and then how that carried into the rest of the morning
Right.
and even the early afternoon. Now, we were gassed
Oh,
by
yeah.
2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. But still, it felt so much better than gassed by 2 o'clock and having done nothing. And then it feels like, oh, well, I guess I'll punt this ball down the week to maybe the next time we'll have babysitting. And then that does, so we'd gotten really worn out by not getting
anything done.
That we just had this huge punch list of things that needed to get done. And we got through it in less than a week.
It was crazy. So Power Hour worked. Now, the thing that we realized is there's no way we could continue doing that.
Correct. For so many reasons.
For a lot, let's talk about some of those reasons, right? The
Right.
upside was this huge productivity boost.
Sure.
And the number of things that were getting done.
Sure.
But we paid for it.
Well, I just think that it was a good sprint
It was.
because the sprint got us so much further ahead. It got us in a different place emotionally and mentally about what we were doing and how we were accomplishing things. And when it came down to it, that is really what we needed. And then we just needed maintenance after that. We didn't need to continue to have this be our life. That meant we went to bed very, very early.
Building a business while raising a family can be tough to juggle for any entrepreneur. Knowing where to focus and how to spend your limited time is critical to your success. That's why Babies in Business has produced and made available a fantastic audio resource for you. It's titled 5 Key Focus Areas to Build a Profitable Business Without Burnout. During this short training, Rachel and Avram peel back the curtain on their secrets to building a business that serves your family, your dreams, and beyond. To download your free copy of the 5 key focus areas, go to babiesandbiz.com/download. Again, that's babiesandbiz, biz.com/download to get your free copy. We hope you enjoy. Now, back to the podcast.
We made this joke that, like, you know, even monks aren't going to bed this earlier, or what? Or no. So we're like monks. We're going to bed. We put the baby to bed, and then we're in bed. And then somebody said something like, "Well, like monks aren't sleeping together," or no, whose joke was that?
There's something. It was hysterical. There was this whole thing.
Whole thing about the monks. And yeah, we were in bed by 7. Like the baby would go down at 7:30, and then we would go down.
He was going to bed at 6:30 at that time.
Oh, that's right.
We went to bed at 7:30. Then he moved to going to bed at 7:30, and that foiled our plans.
The point is we basically like finished putting him to bed, maybe did some dishes, and then we were getting ready for bed, and we were down.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was it. So we had no time.
It truly
for ourselves
annihilated
in the evening.
Yeah, it annihilated time to connect with each other. So many different things, but
we got a lot done. We also do sleep tracking with the Oura Ring. I'm going to put that in the show notes because I probably should talk about it more online. I'm obsessed with my Oura Ring and the sleep
That's
tracking.
to put it lightly.
That's to put it lightly. So the science even showed us by tracking our sleep just how slowly our bodies degraded over time, simply because we weren't following our circadian rhythms.
Correct.
So just because we would go to sleep earlier and then wake up earlier and have the same amount of time in bed did not equate to feeling rested the same way, and the science backed it up.
Well, and then I'm pregnant, so then I sleep. There's a lot of things that actually influence the sleep, and not having enough time in bed was a big thing for me. That's actually through Aura. I found that the amount of time that I need in bed, 8 hours, is like really crucial for me.
More than?
Sometimes 9, because then I might get 7 hours
of actual sleep.
So it is very important for me. So we were noticing these trends and things, and we are looking for longevity. We're not just looking for a quick fix, but that was a solution for a time.
So it's just crazy. The same amount of time in bed just did not correlate with being more rested.
Correct.
And just that shift of like an hour, hour and a half for us, we saw it.
Well, and I think also like a really good thing that happened for us is that, you know, we shifted the focus in that power hour to us for our business.
Right.
And then even after we got rid of that power hour, we have retained that. We've actually kept that as an entire thing on our schedule of 1 hour being all about marketing our business. What does that look like? If we're doing Facebook ads or testing something there, or we're doing something else, but it's an active thing that we're doing. It's a blog that we're writing or a video that we're doing and producing or something.
It showed us just how much nurturing we deserve to have.
Yes.
By taking care of our own stuff and making it the priority, because then everything else takes care of itself.
And then it's not negotiable. It became a non-negotiable for us that we didn't actually have in our business and in the makeup of what we were doing.
So, quick summary. What do you think we learned?
I mean, gosh, we learned a ton. Like, sometimes just because it works on paper doesn't mean that it's going to actually work. It worked on paper for a while.
Look, that schedule looked pretty squeaky, and then we were going through it. After time, it just, like we mentioned, it just was hard to maintain.
It was so hard. The month was, I feel like we got through that month and we were just champions, and then it just went down from there. We had a couple of different factors. Like I mentioned, like Lincoln was waking up earlier, so then we would get up earlier just to have a baby waking up earlier, and that was getting really frustrating because the whole point was get work done.
Get work done.
Yeah, so...
Well, you mentioned this as well. This was really good for a short sprint.
Right.
Or a season. So I would super recommend Power Hour if there's like a project or something that just keeps getting pushed, but it is important to you. You got to carve that time out. Man, that morning time that you can find is extremely powerful, and you can sustain that and blast through a lot in just a short period of time.
Well, I just think that also we may bring this back like a week at a time.
That's right.
In the future, if we find ourselves backlogged in one way or another and not keeping promises to ourselves in marketing and keeping up with what we need to do to grow our business, I could see ourselves doing this for a week or so. but just being aware. I'm 6 months pregnant right now.
Right.
And all of the things that go into building this baby here is a lot. And sleep is so important. And sacrificing that is very, very difficult. So being realistic about where you are in your life and being realistic about where your business is and seeing if those two meet and if this could work for you.
That's right. I think the other side benefit that we got that we didn't see coming was recognizing just how important it is to plan the next day, at least, if not the next week ahead of time. Because if you wake up and you don't have it really clear what you're going to do during that power hour, you waste it so quickly. And then you're frustrated because you woke up early for what?
Exactly. Yeah. So during this time, we got really, really good at scheduling out at least a week in advance and then being really good about getting it done because we already knew what needed to be done. But also in one of the last episodes, we talked about, priority is so important. The order in which you do things and managing those priorities is so important. And planning really helps you manage those things. So if you have a regular thing that comes out, like we have this podcast and a newsletter, we need to make sure that we're doing that at least a week or two in advance, depending on all the things that go into it to get it done.
It really forced us to plan better, and then we just have retained that and put that into what we do. It's been pretty cool.
It's just been great. It's been amazing. We've learned so much about planning and how to really tweak it throughout the week to make sure that, like, if something didn't get done on Monday or Wednesday or whatever it is, and it's Friday, that you bring those things to that day, you get them done, and then you can finish the week off feeling accomplished.
I'm just going to say it. I challenge you to do the power hour for a month.
Sure.
Because I think there's something cool that you learn from any kind of challenge that you do. And it's all the stuff that you wouldn't imagine until you find yourself walking through it yourself. Like all these things that we learned, I think you go out and you try this and apply it to some kind of project or thing that you're working on right now. And you're probably going to come back with a set of different things that you learned. But I think there's just a lot that comes with being consistent, crushing something out, doing something that's way out of your comfort zone, or something that you said you would never do. I mean, we said we would never wake up that early. I've said that a lot in my lifetime. And there's only a couple things I wake up that early for. Well, one of them is Balloon Fiesta here in Albuquerque. You'll wake up at 4:30 for Balloon Fiesta.
Well, I think it's just really important to, something that I got from it was, wow, we did that. It's a huge sense of accomplishment. I mean, one day, yeah, that's cool, but for an entire month and moving past the discomfort and the not wanting to do it and being tired in the morning and just pushing through. My method of getting up in the morning is what I call toast. And Avram's method is 3 or 4 pushes of the snooze button.
No. Can't do me dirty like that on the podcast.
I was giving you bad time. No, it's way worse. I'm making it way worse than it is. It's like 1 snooze, maybe. But for me, it's toast. So when I say I'm going to get up at 4:30, I am up at 4:30. And then we have these other things. So it's just a huge sense of accomplishment to do that for a whole month.
Yeah, we challenge you. Let us know if you're down. Find us on social media at Babies and Biz Pod. Let us know. I'm taking the challenge. You can email us.
Cool.
hello@babiesandbiz.com. We do get all those emails, and we'd just love to see if this is something that you learn from or get challenged and fired up by. With that, I think that's a wrap, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Hey,
We'd
cool.
love to hear from you.
Yep. Get us on Apple Podcasts. Rate this podcast 5 stars. Let people know what they're missing out on with the Babies in Business podcast. Those reviews mean a lot. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Babies in Business podcast. Who do you know that would benefit from hearing this episode? Share it with them and post about it on social media. You can find the show notes for this episode, free downloads, and connect with the rest of the community at babiesandbiz.com. We'll see you next time.